Welcome to Dream Farm. On this episode I want to talk about the perfect TSI crew. And when I mentioned that we were going to do that this morning, these guys kind of took that personal and they thought that I meant that they were perfect. And I'm not going to say that they aren't. They're pretty good. But what I really mean is that the roles that they occupy as we do this project are the perfect roles. Dream Farm is brought to you by Whitetail Institute, research equals results. Hunt Stand Pro Whitetail app. Hoyt Archery. Stealth Cam trail cameras. Wildlife Farming. And PH Outdoors food plot drills. But it's super important when you're doing the TSI work that what flourishes when you're done, when you start putting all that sunlight on the forest floor, aren't a bunch of invasives and just crap. You want stuff to come in that the deer are gonna, feed on, browse in, that's gonna, sort of regenerate that part of the property. You don't want a bunch of invasives and stuff that's gonna really ruin the place. So you have to be super careful on how you do this. You need to be killing those as you go. We've talked about fire. That serves a purpose in regenerating some of that, but it doesn't kill everything. So today, Amos is going to be focused on spraying bush honeysuckle and prickly ash. That's really what we've got a lot of in this area that we're going to cut in today. So he's going to move ahead of us and in some cases come in behind and knock out a couple of stumps that, maybe some of these trees that we've learned that the deer don't eat the sprouts. We don't want those stumps left alive because then that's going to just create more of the same, more mid-level shade. Where you had one tree that you didn't like, you're going to have 12 trees that you don't like. So that's going to be his role. He's spraying a mixture of triclopyr 4, which is an oil-based herbicide that kills trees, with diesel fuel, and he's got a little dye in there so he can tell where he's been. You just coat the bottom 12 to 15 inches of the trunk of the tree you're trying to kill, and that will soak in, and then the herbicide will kill those trees. And it's nice, like I said, to have him moving ahead of us because it's so much work to come in after the fact when there's a bunch of trees on the ground and try to get that work done. So then, the cutting is going to be myself and to a much greater extent, Carson. It's been proven that if you're, how old are you, Carson?
26.
Yeah, so I can offer proof that it's way better to be 26 than whatever I am when it comes to cutting this stuff down. He can get a lot more work done in a day. So if possible, hire young people like these two. And you can't have these two, but something similar. I even bought an upgraded saw for Carson because he's so good at cutting stuff down and moving that I just poured a little bit more gasoline on that spark. And so we upgraded from a Steel Farm Boss to a 400.
Yeah.
And you noticed a big difference yesterday, right?
Yeah, faster, more powerful, and just more efficient, for my cutting during the day. And it saves me a lot of time.
Yeah, because even if you think about it, if you can save 15 seconds a tree or, 20 seconds a tree over the course of several thousand trees over, a couple of years.
Right.
It's going to be days. Pretty soon you're going to be thinking, well, why didn't I do this sooner? Because the efficiency and the amount of work you can get done in a day is huge. Plus they're really good saws. We've tried some underpowered saws and they just don't get the job done. You spend all your time either working on them or sharpening or trying to somehow to get performance out of them. So don't be afraid to get good equipment. Even the sprayer that Amos is using, it's not, my neighbor's son-in-law loaned it to me, but it's way better than the crap that I have.
Oh yeah.
And this one's got a shutoff at the tip of the wand versus a shutoff at the handle. So he saves chemical because it doesn't dribble out. He thinks it's like a squirt gun where you just, squirt the area and then as soon as you pop the handle off, it's done. And so the equipment really, unfortunately, as expensive as it is to get good stuff, it definitely pays off. And then it just makes everybody more efficient. And when you got the perfect crew, you want to make sure they're as efficient as possible. So to wrap this up, TSI is an awesome creator of value for your hunting property, not only from the standpoint of what the land itself is worth, but for the resource, just making the property better for you. But if you do it wrong and you've got a lot of invasives or other plants that are really undesirable, you got to deal with those. Otherwise, all you're doing is making the place almost worse by adding sunlight. So keep that in mind. That's kind of what this episode is all about, having a crew where you can do both, where you can deal with the undesirable plants that are coming in, as well as open the canopy so you get sunlight to the ground and create more of what you want. So that's the role of the perfect crew. We're gonna go up the hill here a little ways and get to work for today. We've got probably 3 more days of cutting on this part of the farm, and we're gonna be done for the winter, which is pretty fun. We'll get out and do some shed hunting then and kind of relax. And it's hard work, but that's why you hire guys like these two. Well, I appreciate you joining me. I'll see you right back here again soon for the next episode of Dream Farm. And remember to always dream
Big.
that is so hokey.